And I wanted to go over this PDF, this ebook on wedding gift funds and the mortgage rules surrounding wedding gift funds. And if you're seeing this video, you're either looking at this video on Facebook or YouTube, or you've just downloaded it, and here you've got a video where we can go through it. But basically what this is a short ebook that outlines what the guidelines are currently in 2019, and a little bit of the history of the guidelines related to down payment gift registries for mortgage funds. We're going to make some assumption that you guys know about some of the basic mortgage guidelines, like sourcing and seasoning of funds. So the audience is mortgage originators, mortgage brokers. We'll throw out jargon like the HUD handbook and the Freddie Mac seller guide and so forth. But without further ado, let's jump into it. This is the landing page, and kind of just outlines the table of contents and what everything looks like. You got your section on FHA, Freddie Mac, the actual wedding registry market, and then a little bit of a summary. So I've already opted in and downloaded it, and that brings you to a tab that looks a little bit like this. It just says thank you and download, but I've got it open in another window as well. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So highlights 2019. So anyway, this is something that you could print out, share around the office as well, or print out pages of it and give it to your realtor partners as well. A little bit about my background. I'm actually the co-founder of downpayment.gift, this application platform for lenders, loan originators to help close more loans, help more first-time home buyers by offering a down payment registry online and allow them to take credit cards and ACH transactions. Prior to working on this software project, I actually ran a branch and was a loan officer for about 8 years in Santa Rosa, California. So I've got some serious love for the industry and boots on the ground experience. My background going back a couple decades is in software and computer science, so that's how I'm back in this side of the world. So a little bit on FHA. FHA actually put out a mortgagee letter in 1996 and then subsequently again in 1997 that basically gave guidance that told lenders how to create down payment registries, and it's a little confusing. I've got them the mortgagee letters. It's the FHA ML 9656 and 9720 from October 96 and then May of 1997. The latter one is the more detailed, entitled Home Ownership Bridal Registry Accounts. So they wanted people to open like an escrow account, like an account in their name at a FDIC insured or credit union insured account, and have those funds directly deposited into the account. In other words, you wouldn't cash the check and then deposit it in your account and then pull the money out and then transfer it back into this other account. It would go directly from, cards with checks collected, cards with cash collected at a wedding, and deposited directly into that account. Well, it was kind of a hard and confusing method, and what lenders tended to do, and this is what I'm told because I got in the business in late 08 is when I started, so this was long since history, I guess. But basically, lenders would basically tell their borrowers to go to the local bank, open a bank account, and deposit all the wedding gifts into that account, and then it would be usable as down payment without waiting 60 days to source it with gift letters or season it rather. So if you call the Hawk today, your local home ownership center for FHA, and speak to an underwriter, they'll actually tell you, depending on, you may get different answers depending on who you talk to, but the mortgagee letters are technically still, on record. They're still there. They haven't been deleted. They're not void and null. But the new HUD handbook in 2015 came out in September 2015, kind of puts some overlapping guidelines related to sourcing and gift funds that make it not obvious that lenders want to allow a bridal registry account like before. So lenders would commonly talk about it, but most correspondent lenders and broker wholesale companies weren't necessarily allowing it. So a little diving into HUD.gov, you can see there's a page called Mortgagee Letters Superseded by the HUD Handbook 4000.1, and you'll notice that the 9720 is not in there. In other words, it's not listed as inactive. But then it is listed as inactive in another page. So it's a little confusing. HUD has conflicting information on their websites. So lenders these days are just, post 2015, it was vague, and then it became super vague. Freddie Mac came to the rescue in the summer of 2017, and that's when we dusted off the plans to work on downpayment.gift. They came to the rescue with super simple guidelines on how to source wedding gifts. And basically, this is a screenshot right out of the seller guide. Gift funds received as a wedding gift are eligible funds, and the gift funds received as a wedding gift from unrelated persons and or related persons is an eligible source of funds for a mortgage secured for a primary residence only. No second homes, no investment properties. The gift funds must be on deposit in the borrower's depository account within 60 days of the date of the marriage license or certificate. So to use this guideline, you have to provide to the underwriting file a copy of the marriage certificate, the marriage license, and then verify that the gift funds were on deposit within 60 days of the marriage. So after 60 days, of course, you're now in the seasoning world where the funds are seasoned. So just a slight, detour. You can still tell people that you can do a bridal registry account with FHA. You just gotta season the funds, basically. So if someone does not qualify for Freddie Mac, you're probably thinking, well, what Freddie Mac was, minimum credit scores 660, and it gets better, a whole lot worse at 680, if you will, especially for a low down payment type scenario. So FHA is still a possibility. It's just a little more waiting game. But the benefit for the couple is the same. In other words, they're going to their guests, their family, their wedding party, and saying, we don't want a traditional wedding gift registry with all this stuff, the toaster ovens, the china patterns, the sheets and whatever else you get, the pots and pans. We have that, or we don't need that. We don't want that. We'd rather have a house. So by doing the down payment registry, they're getting closer to their goal. So anyway, Freddie Mac Seller Guide, the 5501.3, and some links there. and it was actually in late 2016, if you read this this report, where Freddie announced that they were going to expand guidelines to allow wedding gifts as an acceptable source of funds. So it's pretty clear and simple. It's well documented, and it's kind of makes for a pretty unique program. There's no requirements related to the money's got to go here or there or whatever. I still recommend to couples to have a separate account. They may not always take that recommendation because it takes an extra step, but they can open a down payment registry on our site and then go in and replace the account that's connected through the transaction processor Stripe and send it to a different account. And it's really simple. It connects through their ABA and checking account number, or even their debit account number. You just type in the debit account number, and away you go. So intermixed in the ebook, obviously, there's some clicks to create a free registry account or book an appointment. So let's talk about the wedding registry market size and why it's compelling to want to focus on this as a lender. And you know, we just a total aside before we dive into this data. When I was a loan officer and running a branch, we would go to 4 wedding shows a year in Santa Rosa, 2 in September, October, and 2 in January. So I'm recording this at the beginning of December. January is coming up right away, and we're hoping to get this into as many lenders' hands as possible, especially the ones that are attending these wedding shows around the country. But it was a very good way to generate a lot of buyer leads, but it required a lot of follow-up and subsequent marketing, and it was also a pain in the neck to essentially devote 4 weekends of the year this is not just pounding around to open houses and so forth. This is sitting there for 5 or 6 plus hours plus setup time. So it is a comprehensive investment in time, but you do get a lot out of it. We would generate between 180 to 240 leads per show, and we would close a bundle of loans over the following years, and we just kept a database. So anyway, wedding market size in 2018, and we often quote this number every year. There's an average of 2.4 million weddings. So it takes 2 people, so it's nearly 5 million people to market to and convince them that buying a house is a better idea than getting a house full of crap. Or in 2018, a total of $72 billion was spent on weddings annually, and $19 billion spent on presents and wedding gift registries. Isn't that amazing? $19 billion. If the average down payment is about 7% or under $15,000, you can start to do the math that people are spending on average about $28,000 to $35,000 per wedding. I don't think I included that data on this page, but they're spending twice as much on the wedding as the average down payment is, even with the median home sales as they are in 2018, 2019, home sale prices rather. 91% of couples register for wedding gifts, and online registries have pretty much taken over. When I got married in 2004, we still had the barcode scanners and all that stuff. And nowadays, UPC barcode scanners, a la Macy's, Target, and all the retailers have been replaced by a little tablet, like inventory-style devices with scanners, and more or less online. The stats say that the majority of couples, 60%, set up their primary registries online, up from 33%, doubling since 2013, and almost all, or 97%, up from 81%, manage their registries online. So the time is right to start pushing this. It's not a new concept. A lot of companies have come up with down payment registries over the years, but they failed because they haven't been marketed by the lenders because the Freddie Mac changes and the FHA changes, and just kind of vague situation. And anyway, cash registries are becoming more acceptable. This is another key point too. 8-10 years ago, you would say, raise money for down payment, and they would go, "Oh, that sounds tacky. That sounds taboo. Am I charging ticket prices for my wedding?" Right? Gift registries are always a etiquette question. But cash registries have become less taboo, and couples are now choosing their favorite retail products, cash funds for their future at 20%. That's a key thing, that cash components is only about a fifth of registries. And they're even donating to charities, and of course there's sites like Honey Fund for honeymoons. So cash registries growing in acceptance. Cash registries were often considered taboo. That's the same. Oh, that's the same URL. Anyway, down payments are not a leading category, although they're referenced. If you go to Zola and Honey Fund and so forth, they're like, "Oh, and somebody said we should offer this too, but we don't know how to monetize it, so we're not going to really emphasize it, and we're going to charge you transaction fees." So according to the Knot is a wedding website. In 2019, cash registries were on the rise, up from 27% in 2017 to 37% in 2019, with the average cash registry receiving about $1,863 in guest contributions. And I know you're saying that's not enough to make a down payment, and that is true because they're just asking for cash. If they turned around and said, "Hey, we're going to buy a house," you'd see those numbers triple or 4 and 5x. The majority of the couples on the Knot registry create cash funds to help pay for honeymoon-related expenses. That's 55%. So you need to bump the down payment up in that neighborhood. Other popular cash fund categories include dining, food and drink experiences, household-related experiences, and personal hobbies and interests for the newlyweds. And you'll notice in that the ranking, the listing there from the Knot, number 3, funds for down payment on a home, ranks below honeymoon and dining and food-related gift certificates or whatever. So in any case, so a little bit of a summary, and then we'll wrap this up. The opportunity is huge. Freddie Mac has the most borrower-friendly guidelines for wedding gift funds that I've seen and that the market has seen in the last 2 decades. And FHA is still an option, but we need to educate the borrower to season the funds for 60 to 90 days post-wedding. And the opportunity is huge, and the ability to virtually guarantee that each person that opens a registry through your customized co-branded portal will come back and do the loan with you via rebating transaction fees. So what we do and recommend and actually guarantee to the couple is that if they raise $1,000, they'll get the $30 back in transaction fees, 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. So it's not a lot of money in the context of the total rebate available on a loan. And so what our partners are doing is offering a lender credit to offset the couple $100 in transaction fees for successful registry. So it's pretty exciting. It virtually guarantees that everyone comes back to you and uses you to close the loan. So I'm not going to read this to you, but we're pretty excited, and we think that offering the rebate and refund of credit card transaction fees will pull people away from the Zolas and the honey funds, and they'll understand the benefit of being paired with a lender to talk to them about credit, talk to them about loan programs, and talk to them about the possibility of buying before they get married as well. That was something that we used to always run into at the wedding events, is someone would say, well, we're getting married in 12 or 18 months, but we'd like to buy a house now. So can you help us do that now? So forget the wedding registry. Let's scrabble together the cash or down payment assistance. And it also became an issue too, once you might have someone that's high income, high credit, and someone that's mediocre credit and little or no income. And once you merge them together, then you have bad debt, low credit, and as you know, the lesser of middle credit scores used for qualifying. So you would almost want to leave that lower credit person off the loan. Well, once they're in a community property states, which many of you are in, I know California is and was rather, once you're married, you go to those community property guidelines, and the bad credit starts to drag down the purchase prospects and raise the rate and so forth. So a lot of times someone can be either educated to improve their credit before they get married, or just use that as a reason to pull the trigger and buy the house with the spouse's good job, good credit, and then get married and sort it out later. So yeah, schedule a call. Hope you enjoyed this walkthrough, and if you have any questions, hit us up on the website. Just hit the chat bubble. You can head over to downpayment.gift or go to partners.downpayment.gift, and should be a chat bubble in the lower right, or you can just email Lauren at downpaymentgift.com, and I think that's somewhere in this. And I paste in here for the last 4 pages the mortgagee letters and the page from the seller guide from Freddie Mac. But here it is, Lauren at downpayment.gift. All right. Thanks for